Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a watch that is the heart and soul of Patek Philippe, the Perpetual calendar 5140J-001. This, launched in 2006, was the successor to the long-running 3940. So this watch, the 5140, is a little bit larger at 37.2 millimeters in diameter, 9.1 millimeters thick, 45.7 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now in yellow gold, 37.2 is a wonderfully versatile watch. I always say colored gold, rose or yellow, but especially yellow, works better in vintage watches and in smaller sizes and in tinier doses, and this really gives you that. So you can see on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, the watch wears beautifully. Now this example is indicative of the early 5140s, which launched back in 2006, but the model here was sold in 2010. It bears some signatures on it that dated as something made between 06 and 09, and I'll show you why later in the video. But you can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it's really so narrow across the wrist that I have to declare this a unisex option. A man can wear this, a woman can wear this. I could see it wearing well on a wrist down to 13.5 centimeters in circumference, and it's quite flat. It's also tiered with a double domed case flank, so a dress sleeve will ride up and over the side of it. Factory strap, brand new, calfskin on the bottom, large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top, gloss, monotone stitch. You can see it has a folded edge. This is a Patek Philippe factory strap, and it features the company's latest pull tab spring bars. So you can pull the tab, pop the spring bar off, remove it, and swap straps without tools. You can also see that the scale here is not just very large, but very symmetrical. And these large symmetrical scale straps are generally the most expensive and highest quality. The buckle, single fold, Patek Philippe branded, polished yellow gold with a Calatrava cross externally. That is the emblem of the brand. It is a snapshot friction fit clasp. Forgive my fingerprints here, it's in very good shape. And of course, a deployant clasp makes it harder to drop your watch when you are donning it or removing it. The case, very similar to the 3940, fluid with blended lug profiles. You can see the bezel is inset from the case flank. Case flank is rounded, but so is the bezel, which is domed in profile, and we have a little bit of a countersink to the crown, so it's elegantly integrated into the case band. It has the Calatrava cross on it. Pusher adjusters on the flanks to adjust the calendar indications in the moon phase. And then under the sapphire, we have what Patek Philippe would call an opaline dial, which is to say a very subtle frosted matte grain. So it's not a directional metallic sunburst. It's got a soothing soft glow in the light rather than a bright glaring shine. We have a dimple style minutes outboard, and then applique dart style polished yellow gold hour indices, and polished Dauphine style hands at center. We have sub-registers that are coaxial. You have the 24-hour AM PM indicator coaxial with the day of the week. You have a crosshair style leap year phase indicator coaxial with the month. And then you have a crescent style moon phase coaxial with the pointer style date. And you can see that some of the numerals actually shrink to conform to the layout of the dial. Now the moon phase is accurate to 122 years from the time it's set. The Perpetual calendar here is accurate until the year 2100, which due to a quirk in the Gregorian calendar is not actually a leap year. So that year, 2100, plan for the watch to go back to service in Switzerland. That is the only time it will need to be reset. Snap case back. You can see this is a Patek Philippe manufactured case. They've been expanding their case making in-house since buying Atelier Réuni back in the 70s. And then we have the caliber 240 micro rotor automatic. This movement dates back to 1977. And generally, you're going to see it on the more upscale Patek Philippe watches, generally as a tractor movement for a complication. So it is thin like a manual, and it has the open, pleasing caseback vista of a manual because the rotor is sunken in the same plane as the other bridges. But then it also has the convenience of automatic winding. So 48-hour automatic winding power reserve. We've got a beat rate of 21,600 vibrations per hour. All this pivoting on 27 jewels adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology and chronometer standard. We have the famed Patek Philippe Gyromax style free-sprung balance, so it's set in its 5 positions and adjusted by turning these little variable inertia bolts to change the polar moment or turning force. So the regulator, the actual stud holder, that stays put. All the adjustments done using the balance, which is both very precise and also shock tolerant. The mass is 22 karat gold, the higher percentage of gold, because it needs to be more dense to maximize its winding efficiency, being as small as it is with an effectively short lever arm. And then, of course, we have the Geneva hallmark. And I talked earlier about this watch being made between 2006 and about mid-2009. Well, the model came out in 2006. The Geneva hallmark was phased out in mid-2009, replaced by the Patek Philippe seal. Same standard of watchmaking and quality, but a lot of people realize that the Geneva hallmark is less common on the 5140s. I also like the nostalgic factor. Finish is good. Linear Cote de Genève across the rotor as well as the bridges, laid down by abrasive stripe. You can see engine turning in 2 sizes on the base plate. All screw heads black polished and mirrored with chamfered slots in circumference. You can see the bevels of the bridges have been mirrored, and if not started by hand, definitely finished that way. You can also see that the jewel sinks, as well as the screw sinks, all feature interior beveling, which is a nice touch. And then the locating pegs for the balance cock, you can see there are 3 of them right here. Their heads have been black polished. That's a nice little detail. You can also see that the ratchet wheel atop the barrel has also been black polished, and all the wheels have been satinated. A good looking movement, all this 30 meters water resistant, and again, a perpetual calendar, automatic winding with a 48-hour power reserve. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.